There's a city where the hotels are still facing the sea, where clothes still hang in closets, where dishes were left on tables, waiting to be used, but no one ever came back. Not because of a natural disaster, not because of radiation, not because the buildings collapsed. This city was sealed by soldiers. For nearly 50 years, stepping inside meant arrest or worse. And even today, access is still controlled, not because the danger is gone, but because the past is still unresolved. This is Varosha, once the most glamorous resort in the Mediterranean, now one of the most controversial abandoned places on Earth. And the question isn't what happened here. The question is, why are they still not letting people return? Stay with me, because the deeper you go into Varosha, the more uncomfortable the answers become. Before the fences, before the soldiers, before the abandonment, Varosha was the jewel of Cyprus. In the 1960s and early 1970s, this coastal district of Famagusta was booming. Luxury hotels lined the beach. Restaurants stayed open late into the night. Tourists arrived from all over Europe. Movie stars vacationed here. Business thrived. Families built their lives around tourism. Varosha wasn't just a resort, it was the economy. And then, almost overnight, everything stopped. No warning, no preparation, just panic. In July of 1974, war reached Cyprus. What began as political tension escalated rapidly into military conflict. As fighting spread, residents of Varosha fled. Parents grabbed children, shop owners locked doors, hotel staff abandoned front desks mid-shift. Most believed they would return in days. Some didn't even lock their homes. Cars were left in parking lots. Laundry stayed on balconies. Food remained in kitchens. But those days turned into weeks, weeks into months, months into decades, because Varosha was sealed. And it wasn't sealed with signs, it was sealed with soldiers and guns. After the evacuation, Varosha was fenced off completely. Barbed wire, watchtowers, military patrols. Entry was forbidden to civilians. Former residents were told they couldn't return. Tourists were warned to stay away. Photographs were discouraged. Why? Because Varosha became a bargaining chip. Its empty hotels and prime beachfront were suddenly more valuable abandoned than restored. As long as Varosha remained frozen in time, it represented leverage. And so, the city stayed locked. Not destroyed, not rebuilt, just waiting. Time does not stop for abandoned places. Without maintenance, Varosha began to rot. Salt air corroded metal, windows shattered, concrete cracked, plants grew through hotel lobbies, birds nested in luxury suites. Nature slowly reclaimed everything. But unlike most abandoned cities, Varosha sat in full view. Tourists could see it from nearby beaches. Residents could see it from balconies just beyond the fence. An entire city decaying, while people watched, unable to touch it, unable to enter. Many assume Varosha remained closed because it was unsafe. That's only part of the story. Yes, buildings became unstable, some structures were at risk of collapse, but the real reason Varosha stayed closed was political. Reopening the city meant answering questions no one wanted to answer. Who owns the land? Who gets the hotels? Who compensates the former residents? Returning Varosha meant reopening the conflict itself. So, instead of solving the problem, the city was left to decay. Frozen, not by time, but by disagreement. For the people who lived there, Varosha wasn't a symbol, it was home. Families aged without ever returning. Children grew up hearing stories about a city they'd never see. Some former residents passed away still holding keys to homes that no longer existed. Their memories remained vivid, while the buildings crumbled. Varosha didn't just lose its population, it lost its future. Decades later, small sections of Varosha were partially reopened. Not fully, not freely. Access was controlled, movement restricted. For some, it felt like progress. For others, it felt like reopening an old wound. Because walking those streets didn't feel like visiting a city, it felt like trespassing inside memory. Varosha remains one of the most famous abandoned places in the world, not because it collapsed, not because it burned, not because it was poisoned, but because fixing it requires confronting history, and history is expensive. Varosha proves something unsettling. Sometimes abandonment isn't caused by disaster. Sometimes it's caused by indecision. If you enjoy stories about places frozen by history, cities left behind not by nature but by human choices, subscribe. Because some abandoned places aren't empty, they're just waiting for permission to exist again.